Welcome back. The Omicron variant is proving to be much harder to pin down than expected, even if it is less virulent and less sickening. For many, it is playing out with mild flu-like symptoms. The virus that likely originated in a Wuhan, China virology lab has sickened millions across the world and has killed more than 800,000 Americans in the last year and a half. And yet, President Biden refuses to press Chinese President Xi Jinping about its origins and how it leaked from that lab. We traveled to Palm Beach, Florida this weekend to catch up with President Trump, and I asked him about the virus.
I think the origins are so obvious. They came out of the Wuhan lab, and I think if anybody thinks anything differently, they're just kidding themselves. So you can ask, China has to pay. They have to do something. They have to pay reparations. And China doesn't have the money to pay those reparations. I believe that worldwide, I'm not just talking United States, worldwide, $60 trillion of damage, 60 trillion. China doesn't have $60 trillion, but they have to do something to make up for what they've done. What they've done to the world is so horrible. It's been horrible all over the world, and it doesn't stop. Remember, Biden was going to do a wonderful job on COVID, right? He was going to do a wonderful job. He's done a horrible job. Look at what's gone on. Today, we set a record on cases, a record. This was supposed to be away. This would have been gone.
Would you have boycotted the 2022 China Olympics?
No, because I watched Jimmy Carter do it, and it was terrible. It was terrible. Hurts the athletes. Hurts. There are much more powerful things we can do than that. Much, much more powerful things. That's not a powerful thing. It almost makes us look like, I don't know, sore losers. We're doing so badly. Maria, our country is no longer respected. No, I wouldn't do that. I'd like to see our great athletes go over and win every single medal. When this was done by Jimmy Carter, I remember it so well. The athletes were devastated. They were hurt so badly. No, I'd like to see the United States go over, which I think they will, and win all the gold medals and win the silver and the bronze and do great.
Do you think that China will take over the Bagram Air Base? Were you going to close Bagram?
No, I was never. So there were 6 of them. I was going to bomb 5 and keep Bagram. But the reason I was going to keep it wasn't for Afghanistan. It was because of China. It's 1 hour away from where they make their nuclear weapons. It has the largest runways, the most powerful runways, mean for heavy. They're very powerful, thick, like in some cases 8 feet of concrete. Nobody ever heard of anything like that. We spent billions of dollars building it years ago, long before me, and it's right next to China, and it's right next to where they make their nuclear weapons. And we gave it up in the dark of night. We left the lights on, and we did leave the dogs, by the way. You know, people say, oh, remember they said, oh, well, we didn't really. They left the dogs. And the Taliban doesn't like dogs, so you can imagine what happened. But
makes me think of Fauci. Anthony Fauci misled the Senate when he said that the NIH did not fund the gain-of-function research. Should you have fired Fauci?
So a lot of people ask me that question, and I did it right. Because if you do fire him, you're going to have a firestorm on the left again, as usual. And I didn't listen to it. He wanted to keep our country open to China, and I closed it. He wanted to keep our country open to Europe, and I closed it. He talked about masks being no good. Well, I'm not a huge mask believer, but I think they have some purpose. And now he's a radical masker. I mean, everything he's done, he's a great promoter. He's a bad pitcher. He was telling me what a great athlete he was. I said, you can't throw a baseball 15 feet. I never saw it. That was, other than President Obama, it may be the worst throw I've ever seen to home plate. No, I think I did the right thing because we would have had a firestorm. Less of a firestorm now if he was fired, because he's been wrong so often. But if you think of it, he wanted to keep our country open to China, Europe, and all these places, and I didn't do it.